you've been on Rogan, you've been on Tucker. I saw you with Rick Rubin. I mean, you're hanging out with Rick Rubin. Like, that's amazing. You've been on the Mount Rushmore of media. Who's left?
Yeah, maybe The View. That would be fun.
I was just thinking that actually. Would you go on there?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Do you? I mean, when you step back and look at all these appearances and like these shows, and they've got millions and millions of views. Like, what do you think?
It's very weird because, prior to the pandemic, I wasn't even working. I was basically a soccer mom. I have 4 kids, and I had taken time off from work and wasn't even sure I was going to go back to work. And I started a new practice 6 months before the pandemic hit. So it is very bizarre.
Well, and now, well, let me back up a second because we talked last year, or we talked in May actually, and what were your expectations for this administration, Maha? What were they then last year, a year ago, November, and what are they now?
Well, we were expecting a reckoning. I mean, Kennedy was the nuclear bomb that we were going to detonate on big pharma. And then all of a sudden, the target shifted to big food. And Maha came out of nowhere thanks to Callie Means, who came out of nowhere. And we lost that momentum. And now it appears that the current administration is just going to sweep the greatest public health crisis of our generation under the rug. It's very disappointing.
See, you were more hopeful than I was. I didn't expect anything to change, and the reason for that is, well, I didn't think big pharma would ever go away. Not saying you thought that, but too many people are on Ozempic. Too many people are on antidepressants, Adderall. These kids, I mean, and it seems like younger and younger and younger are getting on this stuff. And I couldn't even imagine if it was taken away for a month, what would happen to this country? Like, it'd tear itself apart, I would think.
Well, yeah. But I mean, my focus, as you know, has been this mRNA shot, which I've never seen anything like it with any other product on the market. Any other product would have been pulled a long time ago. I mean, I practiced through Vioxx and a few antibiotics that were the big, greatest, latest antibiotics, and then all of a sudden were pulled off the market because of the dangers. And then look at the swine flu vaccine, 1976. It was pushed out very hard. It was very similar to the mRNA shots. Massive propaganda around the swine flu shot. And actually, 25% of the population got it within the first few months. And after only I've seen various reports, but just on average, about 30 people died and they pulled it. And it took them 2.5 months to pull it. Now, look at the COVID shots. And in the first 3 months, and this is from Pfizer's own data where they're monitoring in the first few months, and this is just Pfizer. So we don't know what the numbers are for Moderna and J&J, but under Pfizer's own data, 1,233 people died or were reported to have died. So that number might be an underestimation in the first 3 months. And that's when, at that point, about 30% of the population had gotten the shots. So very similar to swine flu in terms of the outcome, in terms of adverse reactions in that first 3 months, in terms of percentage of the population that got it. And yet, instead of pulling it off the market, it became mandated for 100 million Americans. It's insane.
And to this day, it still has not been pulled. The EUA was lifted.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's the PrEP Act is still in effect. The PrEP Act is still in effect until 2029, which gives blanket immunity to all countermeasures implemented during the pandemic.
So does that mean that the EUA was lifted, but it really wasn't lifted, is what you're saying, from a liability
Yeah, I mean,
standpoint?
I don't really. Yeah, it just didn't. It made no sense to continue an emergency use authorization for these shots, given that the pandemic ended a long time ago. So it was sort of a common sense measure. And now, though, I mean, everything's still protected. I know Thomas Massey has a bill trying to repeal the PrEP Act. That would be a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and he's under attack right. Everybody's under attack right now. Can you believe? Like, I mean, just in the last couple of days, everything that's transpired, both personally for you, but it feels like you're always under attack, though. I mean, at this point, you're probably immune to it.
I am used to being under attack from, the people on the opposite side, and that really doesn't bother me at all. But it does bother me when people that I consider my friends attack me very publicly. That bothers me a lot.
So, do you mind sharing what the people that don't know by now what has gone on with you in the last couple of days?
Yeah, well, back in August, Robert Malone went on a podcast and said that, Mary has gone off the rails. Which, I mean, to that point, up until that point, we were friends. I mean, we text each other fairly regularly. He was publicly supportive of me. But, I have been more critical of the current administration because nothing has happened. And I see people who have been injured from these shots on a daily basis in my office. It's constantly reminding me. And these patients are very difficult to treat. It's a lot of trial and error. It's slow going improvement. And, I feel like I'm in uncharted territory with not a lot of support. And these patients don't have any support. They're not getting help from the government. There is a compensation program, CICP, and they have compensated 0.29% of people that have applied, which is crazy. So I have become increasingly vocal about this, and Robert Malone is, close with Kennedy and doesn't like me speaking out and being vocal about it. No one has bothered to call me and say, hey, there is a plan. There is, no one has tried to privately offer me any reassurances that anything has happened. So all I can do is go off what I see online, and I don't see enough. And so, anyway, Robert doesn't like this and basically publicly attacked me. And then more recently, I did an interview with Dr. Stephen Hatfield and Gray Delaney, who were recently fired from HHS unexpectedly and suddenly. And both of them were fired over the BARDA contracts regarding mRNA. So Stephen Hatfield was behind the cancellation of 22 contracts with BARDA over mRNA vaccines. And Gray Delaney was a communications guy. He was trying to bridge MAHA with the administration. And he sent out a tweet concerning the BARDA and Trump's reaction to it. And that prompted him to get fired. And then Hatfield, apparently there was a meeting involving, I think, BARDA and involving Meryl Nass. And during this meeting, there was some arguing. And after that meeting, he was fired. So I got a call from somebody telling me, don't interview him, which of course made me want to interview him. So I interviewed him and Gray. And then after the interview, the gist of the interview is that Stephanie Spear, who works very closely with Kennedy, Deputy Chief of Staff, that she is a problem, that she is blocking communications. She's making it difficult for people in that under Kennedy to get things done. So I sent out a tweet showing a series of concerning posts that she had made years ago about her hatred for Trump, about doing some sort of podcast or meeting with communists. And, somebody, that sparked some outrage from Kennedy supporters, including Malone. And he accused me of outrage farming and being divisive and that sort of thing. And then he proceeded, and so I rebutted that with, you should call me, and my goal is to get these shots off the market, and I don't understand why if they haven't been pulled, and that is my motive. And then he proceeded to share text messages where, after I saw the podcast where he said I'd gone off the rails, I got mad at him over text messages, and he shared those text messages. So anyway, I am, he's shown his true colors, and I'm moving on from that, but it is disappointing.
Why? Why? Well, let me back up a second. Who is, for people that don't know, who is Stephanie Spear, and why is her influence so great?
She and Kennedy go way back. She has an organization, or she had an organization called Echo Watch, was an environmental activist organization. So that's how they became connected. He supported that organization. And, she's known to be sort of his right-hand man, kind of like Susie Wiles and Trump, maybe the gatekeeper. When I did the interview, Shannon Joy joined on, and she said she had run into Stephanie Spear. She tried to, she was at the speech where Kennedy made his announcement that he was running for president. And as a member of the media, was trying to set up her station, and had some negative interaction with Stephanie Spear. And then, since I posted that interview, I've talked to other people who have collaborated that, yes, Stephanie Spear is difficult. She is a gatekeeper. But, I don't know her personally. And I don't know if you saw that Kennedy did post something on X about her yesterday, saying how wonderful she is.
Yeah, it was a very positive endorsement that he provided for her.
Yes. So, I don't have any inside information. Again, it's just those tweets that she posted are, pretty damning towards Trump. And the whole interacting with communists, I think, is concerning. And yeah, people can change. So hopefully she has changed. And, Kennedy came out in defense of Wiles and Spear yesterday. So in my mind, that means the buck lands with him. I mean, my goal is trying to figure out why these shots are still on the market. And there's been all this speculation. Who's to blame for that? Is it Spear? Is it Wiles? Who is it? So, Kennedy basically said, oh, Wiles and Spear are wonderful. So I guess the buck lands with Kennedy, which is disappointing.